So if you're making that type of money, what's the first expense that you have? Say again?
Thanks.
What's that?
Thanks.
Mortgage, some people are saying that, right? Okay. Well, before you can spend it, you got to pay your taxes, right? Okay, so in California, where I live, okay, you're in 48% tax bracket. 48%. How high is it here? Is it lower or higher? How much do you pay in taxes here? 33? What about like state taxes? Do you guys pay also state, like whenever you buy something at the store, don't you pay something as well?
GST.
You pay tax on stuff, right?
GST.
Yeah? Are you guys counting that too, or you're not counting that?
No.
You gotta count that too, right? Okay, so every time you spend $1, don't they charge you, what's the percentage here?
15.
15?
Yeah, 15.
So every $1 it's 15 pennies? Yeah. Oof, yeah, so you guys are, I mean, if you add it all up, it's up there, right? Yeah, you gotta add everything, you know, it's all coming out of your paycheck, right, at the end of the day. So when you look at that in the US, you're left with about $4,400. Now keep in mind, $100,000 a year, only 4% are gonna make that type of money. So it's not like everybody makes that, right? But that's what you're left with. Now if you purchase a home in Los Angeles, you're not gonna get something extravagant. Like here, I'm sure you could buy a big house for $500,000, yes?
No.
No? Oh man.
Nothing.
I thought it was cheaper to live out here. Okay. So in Los Angeles for $500,000, you can probably get like a studio, maybe a 1-bedroom. Okay? About the same? All right, well hey, that's what you gotta do. If you're making $100,000, now $3,500 a month, that's pretty realistic, right? For a $500,000 loan?
Yeah.
Yes? No? No? All right, what about utilities though? Water, power, gas, right? But doesn't that add up too? All right, so let's just say with all your utilities, you're looking at about $3,500. Is that pretty realistic? Yep. All right, let's move on. $900 left, you gotta get a car too, right? If you get a car, it's about $500. Not a BMW or anything, forget about that, you know, who needs that? You know, just something like a nice little Honda Accord or something cool, something chill. All right, so $500 a month, I think that's pretty realistic, right? You get your car, right? You're left with about $400. Maybe insurance on your car, about $200. Maybe gas, about $100 a month.
No.
More? More? Okay, well, you guys know the numbers here, right? But I mean, just look, you got about $100 left. All right, what didn't we talk about? What have we not talked about yet? Right, you gotta eat, right? What about children? Your children gotta eat too, right? Your kids start getting a little skinny, you know? It's just interesting how when you really start breaking things down, you realize right away that a lot of people probably are living paycheck to paycheck. Now you can budget better, there's a lot of things that you can do, but nowadays a lot of people are looking for that side income, right? That's where the side hustle came in. Now people drive Uber on the side, they do Airbnb on the side, they have all these little side businesses, they do drop shipping, they sell stuff on Amazon or eBay or whatever. It's like everyone's looking for that extra money because it's not enough, okay? And that's if you make $100,000 a year. If you make less than that, well, I don't know how you make it happen. So 5% are still working at age 65. And when I look at that, I think to myself, man, I've seen a lot of people that are old and still working. For me, that's unfortunate, you know? I think Austin was talking about that whole health span. You know, do you really want to be working in your 60s, 70s? Do you think people want to be working in their 60s and 70s? I mean, even if you really love what you do you really want to be working still at 60s and 70s? Some people are like, I'm 25, I don't want to work right now, okay? I'm done already, you know? So if that's the case, right, you're thinking about it, in your 60s, you're still working. You know, I go to banks in California, and when I go to the bank, I look at the security guard, and it's always an older person. It's always an older person. And I always think to myself, man, if they rob this place, that's the guy we gotta protect. You know, we gotta save that guy. Yeah, he's protecting us, you know? Now, Austin mentioned it as well, right? That people pass of these degenerative diseases, all these different things, all the healthcare costs, etc. You know, we didn't talk about healthcare costs over here either, but you know, when you think about people that die because of these degenerative diseases, it's very unfortunate. You know, so that's the reality for them. 54% are not dead, but they're dead broke. Okay? And when you think about dead broke, that means you're living off government support or family support of some kind. So if you look at the numbers, it doesn't look too good. And then keep in mind, college graduates, high aspirations. These are people who, you know, had plans and big dreams for the future. All of that. You look at it, it's 95% of people that are still working dead or dead broke by age 65, and 5% that are either wealthy or financially independent. How many of you guys want to be a part of that 5% club?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? Some of you guys say 1%, right? Well, if you want to be a part of this 5% club, I really think that you should study and see what do these people do that these people didn't do. Because I'm sure they all had the same aspirations, right? It's not like these people said, yeah, we're going to college, but we're going to be broke, we're sure of it, you know? It's like, no. I think they wanted something, but it just didn't work out, okay? So, ironically, when you look at the amount of people that own their own business in the United States, it's about 5%. About 5% of people own their own business in the United States. What do you think 95% of people do? They work for that 5%. So I think it's just very interesting. You know, if you want to be where the 5% is, you should probably do what they do. And nowadays, entrepreneurship has gotten very popular. I see so many youngsters now starting businesses. It's not just people who are in their 30s and 40s, you know, whatever. I see 15-year-olds starting businesses now. Heck, there's even 10-year-olds that are YouTubers making millions of dollars a year now, right? It's like now you can be young and start a business, right? It's not about your age, okay? Even like doing an online business, you could be 75 years old running an online business from your house. I think that's pretty cool. So anyways, now that you guys understand that having a business is probably the best way to financial health, let me teach you one more thing. Because a lot of times people say, all right, I have a business, Mike, and I'm working hard at my business. I'm making so much money, this is good. But the key is that you want to make sure that you have free time to enjoy it, right? You can't just be working yourself to the ground. So I want to make sure that everybody that has a business understands the concept of leverage. And if you don't have one, still understand the concept of leverage. Most people that put in a 50-hour work week work about 50 weeks out of the year. At the end of the day, you're working about 2,500 hours per year. That's the amount of hours that people are clocking in, okay? If you're working 40 years of your life, right, from 25 to 65, you're putting in all that time, you're working roughly about 100,000 hours. So that's the reality, okay? We're talking about financial health. We got to get real. We got to get serious. That's what's happening, 100,000 hours of work. So is there a way around this? Can I avoid this somehow? The reality is that you can't really avoid it, but there's ways to kind of be more efficient. So what I tell people is this. Think of it this way. If this is you and you have 50 employees or 50 people working for you, now you have leverage. If 50 people work 10 hours a week, you're getting paid on 500 hours a week of production. Just think about the way that if you're an owner of a company and you have employees, all of them are working under you, you're leveraging them. Everything they do, you're earning off of their productivity. So this is that concept of leverage, right? So if you put in 50 weeks a year, you're putting in about 25,000 hours. You're getting paid off of 25,000 hours of production. You're leveraging your time. That's the best way to go, okay? So if you do that for 4 years, that means you're putting in about 100,000 hours. So for me, I look at that and I think to myself, do people want to work 40 years or do they want to work 4 years? How many of you guys are willing to put in that 4 years of hard work and building leverage or work 40 years, right? So a lot of people want that leverage. I mean, think of it. Some people say, Mike, you're making it sound too good to be true. Even if it was 8 years, even if it was 10 years, it's still better than putting in 40 years of work. I just don't see the point in working that many years until the end, you know? You got to go out there and enjoy your life. It goes by so quickly. Okay, so now that you understand leverage, let's talk about one more thing, consumable products. Austin did a good job of telling you guys about how good Usana is, all the quality that goes into it. You guys know that Usana's not messing around. It's a real product, okay? Good company, solid. So if that's the case, if you're going to promote a product, it's always a good idea to have a consumable product. Something that people use, and when it runs out, they reorder it. Okay? That's consumability. Because that way, you can go ahead and get paid off of the same person month after month after month. That's a good business to do. So when you think about supplements, are they consumable goods? Yeah. I would say that the average person out there is spending at least $30 a month on nutritional supplements. Maybe a calcium, maybe a fish oil, something like that. Some of you guys are probably spending that already. What about food? The average person in Los Angeles spends about $5 per meal. Okay, $5 per meal. So let's say you're just doing one meal a day times 30 days. That's $150. I mean, you know, people go to Starbucks out here, right? Is there Starbucks in New Zealand? Yeah. Okay. All right, it should be called $5, you know, not Starbucks. Because how much does it cost just for a cup of coffee? Right? $4, $5, $6, you know? And then you buy like a bagel or you buy something else, you're looking at $8, $9. That's just for a coffee and a bagel one time, one day. People do it every day. That adds up. Maybe it's best to change some of those habits, right? Like some of the speakers before me that mentioned. Maybe drink a protein shake in the morning instead. Drink a meal replacement. Do something that's good for your health. So I think that budget right there, we can totally tap into that budget for people. See, we're not trying to get people to spend more. We're just trying to get them to redirect their spending. Instead of spending it here, to spend it over here with us. That's the way we're trying to do it. We give them a better product, right? Make it convenient for them. Give them that health benefit. Get them hooked. What about personal care? How many of you guys I gotta see a show of hands. How many of you guys take a shower every day? Show of hands. Not everybody. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I got you. You're a little stinky. I got you. All right, so personal care products, let's just say about $30. $30 a month, right? Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste. What else? Some lotions. You know, get the ashy elbows going. Put some lotion on, bro. You know? So if you think about it, all in all, how much are you spending? The average person is spending at least $200. At least $200 on these products. These are non-negotiables. These are things that people spend no matter what. You're going to spend money on something. Make sense? So either Starbucks is making the money, or Herbal Essences is making the money, or GNC is making the money. Somebody's making it. It's kind of nice if you can participate though, because there is a shift happening. There is a huge amount of wealth that's going from on land to being spent online. Okay? People are not going to be buying in retail stores. 10 years from now, everything's going to be purchased online. You'll see. I mean, isn't it already happening? I mean, back in Los Angeles, honestly, I don't really go to the store anymore. My groceries get delivered. Everything gets delivered via Amazon to my house. I don't need to leave my house to go buy products anymore. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So if that's happening in the States, is it going to happen in New Zealand? Yeah. Or is it already happening in New Zealand? Okay, so why not set up shop then? If you know it's going to happen, why don't you set up a shop and capitalize on that for the health industry, right? Set up your own online website like that and capitalize on the health industry. Okay, so how do you set it all up? This is the way it works. You set up your store like this. So that's your little Usana store. To get your store started, you buy a little bit of inventory, and really this product is just for you to try it out. Use it, get familiar with it, okay? It's always easier to recommend something that you've tried before, that you believe in. So buy some of the products, and there you go, that's your business. Now, once you start getting customers, here's what happens. Every time somebody spends money in your Usana business, you're gonna get points for that money. The reason we do points is because there's different currencies all over the world, right? So in the United States, if you get a customer, let's say you posted it up on Instagram, on Facebook, and somebody from the United States bought that product, it's gonna get shipped directly to them, they're gonna get charged, and you're gonna get points. Makes sense? Because they're spending in US dollars, it gets converted to points, and it's posted to your account. How do they know it's your customer? Everybody has their own URLs, their own links. So whenever you post a product or you promote something, add the link, send people directly to the link. If they purchase on that link, you're getting credit for it. So that's how I do it. So as you're getting these points though, what do you do with them? Usana has something called a binary compensation plan. Binary means two. So you're building a right side and a left side in your business. Every time you have points, you position them on your right, position some on your left, and when it balances, you're gonna get paid. As you can see in this example, let's say you had 4,000 points on left and right. Let's just do some examples. You'd have 8,000 points, you make $800. That's about 10% of the points. That's what you're gonna earn, okay? Now what if they order the following month? Then you're gonna earn that check one more time. What if they ordered the following month? You're gonna earn it again. So that's how it becomes consumable or residual income. Now over here I have a picture of 3 stores, okay? Now, the reason I have 3 stores over here is because Usana lets you open up not just 1 store, but you can theoretically open up to 3 stores to begin. 3 stores works very similar to 1, except instead of getting paid once, you're getting paid 3 times. So if you have 8,000 points, here you have 1 store, so you only have 2 legs, right and left. When you have 3 stores, you have 4 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in 4 legs, how would you divvy up 8,000 points? 2,000 on each leg. So in this scenario, you'd make $400 here, you'd make $400 here, and you'd make $800 up here because all of these points are flowing up here and up here. So altogether you make $1,600. That's about 20%. So just to make the math easy for you guys, if you're already confused or lost, the most you can make is 20% of the points. The least you'll make is 10% of the points. Okay, that's it. Pretty simple to understand that. All right. So everybody says, that sounds great, Mike, but 8,000 points? How am I going to get 8,000 points? It sounds like a lot of work. It is. It is a lot of work. It's not easy to do, but it's possible. So what you can do is you can leverage, back to that concept of leverage. So if you want to leverage yourself, let's say you have a friend who's a personal trainer, or somebody who's an expert in food, and like the speaker earlier, right, has a lot of information, very passionate about it. Let's just say he got started. Now, I heard the story about how they got involved. They heard about Usana, and they actually contacted Usana saying, sign us up. Isn't that crazy? There are people out there that want to get enrolled. Nobody brought them, but they just looked for it themselves. I think that's phenomenal. All right? So let's just say that they came on board, right? They got started in your business. If they got started in your business, let's say this person right here, let's say they did a total of 1,000 points. Okay? So they got a few customers. If they got 1,000 points, those points are going to go to them, but those points are also going to go to you. Okay? So now you're leveraging that person, right? So you have 1,000 points on your right side. So when people look at this, they go, okay, so I make money off of this person. Well, you get points. You don't necessarily get paid right away. In this scenario, this gentleman right here makes $100. You get 1,000 points because there's 1,000 points there, but you don't get $100. You have points on your right side, but you don't have points on your left side. So at this point, you're not really earning a check yet. What do you got to do? You got to build that left side. So let's say you find a friend. You find this girl, right? She's like, all right, I'm excited about this. I'm really, really excited about it. And the next day she's like, I'm tired, okay? And she doesn't do anything. Let's say you bring someone on board and they just don't do anything, right? They become inactive in the business. Does that happen? Yeah. Okay, then you can't really control that, right? You don't know who's going to be serious. You don't know who's going to work hard. They're not your employee. You can't say, get to work, or you're fired. Can't fire her, okay? Because she doesn't work for you. She works for herself. But you're leveraging, right? So if she does something, you'll get credit, but she doesn't work for you. So she's her own boss. She's on her own schedule. She can work whenever she wants. So what do you do in this scenario? You're not stuck. What you can do is you can bring another person and position them here. Now, if this gentleman goes out there and does some work, what if he brings a person like this girl? Now, let's just say this person way down here does 5,000 points. Just an example, right? If she does 5,000 points, she'll get $500. Those points are going to flow up to her. They're going to flow up to this dude. They're going to flow up to the sleepyhead. So what do you think might happen here? Maybe she's like, all right, I'm back. Okay, I was just taking a break. I want to do this after all. So in this scenario, does she get paid? No, because she has 5,000 points on the left, but nothing on the right. What about this gentleman? 5,000 points on the left, nothing on the right. What about you, though? Those 5,000 points are going to go to you, too. So now in this scenario, you have 5,000 left, 1,000 right. Now you get paid. You only get paid when you have points on both sides. Okay? That's the way the business works. So in this scenario, 1,000 right, 5,000 left, the company's going to pay you on the smaller side. So they're going to cash you out 1,000 from here, cash you out 1,000 from here. This goes to 0. This goes to 4,000 carryover points. And you'll get paid $200. So when people look at this, they go, oh, okay, I get it. It's one of those things. It's a pyramid, right? And people always bring that up to me. And I'm just like, yeah. I mean, the structure, what are you talking about? Like a corporation? If you look at a traditional corporation, isn't that the structure? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is there a different structure for any corporation? Like, name any corporation: Coca-Cola, Apple, IBM, Microsoft. Is this the structure?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not the structure that people have a problem with. I think what people have a problem with is the concept of you're making money off of what I do, right? I think people have a problem with that. I don't know if it's like that here in New Zealand, but worldwide, people seem to have a problem with you're making money off what I do. Okay, let's just say, for example, if you worked at a restaurant or at a job, is your boss making money off of what you do?
Yes.
But you're okay with that, right? But now it's your friend doing it, and now you're not okay with it. Isn't that kind of weird, right? Like, I don't want my friend to make money off of me. My boss makes money off of me. That's okay, but not my friend. It's like, I don't understand it, okay? What I'm trying to say is that it's not this geometric shape that people have a problem with. It's this idea that the person on the top makes more money no matter what. And you're at somewhat of a disadvantage because you're joining under somebody. You're obviously not paying attention to the scenario, right? Look, in this scenario, who made the most money? This guy made $100, you made $200, this girl made how much?
500.
She's the lowest person in the tree. And she made more money than every single person in the example. It doesn't matter who's on the bottom and who's on the top. What matters is who has the most points on left and right. And usually that's the person that's working the hardest. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, so don't worry about who's on top and who's on bottom. Just get to work, build your right and left. That's what you got to do. Okay, so are there any catches? Yes, there are catches. Okay, I'll give you the 2 catches. The most you can make per business center is $1,000 a week. That's the most you can make. Okay? And as far as, is there any quota or anything that you have to do monthly? Yes. Remember how I said the points that you don't collect, they just carry over? Those points will accumulate always. They'll never expire. But you have to do a quota of 100 points every month in personal sales or consumption in order to maintain those points. So it's not like you have to do a lot to maintain it. I'd say the easiest way to do it is just take care of your health. Consume some products, and that's going to be the easiest way to accomplish that quota. You can find customers too to buy 100 points a month, and then you don't have to purchase anything for yourself. I don't recommend that, but you can do that. Okay? Now for 3 business centers, you think, okay, now I got to do 300 points then, right? No. The max that you have to do for 3 business centers and to earn $3,000 a week as your max is 200 points. So if you do 200 points a month, all 3 business centers are qualified. So throughout the years, I've accumulated about 21 business centers, and I still only do 200 points a month. That's the highest quota you'll ever have to do. And I think that's cool because you don't want to have to buy like 1,000 points a month and now your garage is stocked with product, right? It's just not a very cool thing to do. So anyways, so that's pretty much it with the catches. All right, so I explained everything. I explained a little bit about Usana, a little bit about the way the compensation plan works. Let me give you guys a little bit of a plan, okay? Because I think when people see something like this, they always think to themselves, oh man, but how is it ever gonna grow? Is it realistic? You know, if there's one thing that I suggest is always set realistic expectations. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. So there's no way that people are just gonna come in and wanna make millions of dollars overnight, okay? It's just not, it's not a healthy way of looking at a business. Whenever you look at a business, you should always set at least a 4-year business plan. True? Right? Set a business plan for 4 years. Don't say, I'm going to set up a 4-week business plan. It's like, no. Set a 4-year business plan. Commit to your project. So I'll give you guys a 4-year business plan. We'll talk about time, we'll talk about money, and what you have to do. So I'll break it down for you guys pretty simple. Since you understand the way the compensation plan works now, and I've broken it down, let's go with some numbers. Let's just say you found 2 people to join this business and consume 100 points worth of product every month. If you found 2 people in 6 months, you'd make $20. And if those 2 people ordered the product every month, you'd make $20 every month. Do you think it's possible to find 2 people in 6 months?
Yes.
How many of you guys think that's a pretty realistic expectation? Granted, you're working, you're trying the product, you're letting people try it and sample it, right? You're promoting it, you're doing your part, okay? You're not just sitting doing nothing. Like you're actually trying out there, trying to get people to try the product, have an experience, and then maybe present the opportunity to them. So in 6 months, $20. Is that a lot of money though? So at this point, people are like, oh man, $20, that's nothing, okay? But yeah, I know, but you only brought 2, okay? So let's just say that those 2 though brought 2 of their own, and they did it within 6 months as well. So in 1 year, you got $40. Is that pretty exciting? Some people were like, yeah, $40. Ooh, that's nice. This is what I tell people, right? Whenever I show people this, I know people laugh, and I see people look at it and go, come on, bro, that's nothing. It's like, look, you have to, look, I know a lot of people that start a traditional business. They own a restaurant or they do something like that. The first 5 years, they're in the red for 5 years. They don't break a profit until the 5th or 6th year. And most of them don't even break a profit. They'll close their doors before that. So let's keep it real, okay guys? Like here, your overhead is nothing. What's your overhead? You're not spending a lot of money on overhead. You're just taking your supplements, you're not spending money on rent or anything like that. It's a digital business. So the way I look at it is, hey, $40, even though it's not a lot of money, but you're still not in the red, okay? So in a year, that's where you're at. Let's just stick with this program. Because a lot of people say, Mike, is this realistic? Of course it's realistic. You brought 2, and you did a good job of teaching them to do exactly what you did, and you had 6 months to do it. I think that's pretty realistic, okay? Now, in a year and 6 months, you'd be at $80. In 2 years, you'd be at $160. In 2.5 years, you'd be at $320. I'm showing you my business plan. This is exactly how I did it when I first got started. All I was doing was duplication, okay? So within 4 years, $2,500. Now some people say, okay, is that it? Well, you gotta add everybody up. Because all of these people are part of your organization, right? So if you add everybody up, you have 512 people. 512 people ordering 100 points a month will give you at least $5,000 a month in residual passive income. When I look at that, I think to myself, and that's with one business center. Okay, so I'm downplaying it. That's one business center. If you have 3 business centers, it's ideally more. You guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but the #1 income earner in Usana, I'm talking about in the whole world for Usana, is sitting right over here. Do you guys know that?
Yeah.
These people right here are the #1 income earner. What I make in a year, these people make in 1 month, okay? Just so you guys know. They're sitting right over here. Okay, so are they doing this? Oh yeah, okay. They're killing it, guys. They're doing phenomenally well. But they do it very simple. They let people try the product. That's how they do it. They let people try the product. They explain the business to people. And then they help those people do the same. That's really their philosophy, their strategy. They don't make it all fancy or anything. They're very passionate. They love what they're doing. And that's it. So I believe that anyone here, even if you have a job, right? Because a lot of people say, well, I already have my job. I love what I do. That's great. You could still bring 2 people in 6 months. Even if you're focused at your career, even if you have another passion, you're doing something else, I still feel like you can find 2 people in 6 months. Ideally, it'd be kind of cool, right? Can you imagine if you found me, right? You came to me and you signed me up. How many of you guys want to sign me up? It's too late, okay? But what if you signed me up and you put me on your left side, and then somehow you found Bill and Jenny and you put them on your right side? What would happen? See, all of a sudden people start liking Usana, right? They're like, yeah, I wish that happened to me. It's like, but that could happen to you. There's still so many people that don't even know what Usana is. Make sense? Especially now, you can build this business online and you can reach people all over the world. So the opportunity is endless. I know some people here are from Colombia. They're getting people back home in Colombia signed up. I think that's cool. I have business in Mexico. I have business in Australia. I have business in Canada. I have business in the US. So for me, it is a digital business like that. Anyways, after seeing something like this, there's always 3 types of people. There are A's, B's, and C's. If you're a C person, maybe you just want to try the product. This business is too overwhelming. You don't like talking about money and things like that, and that's cool. Consume the product. You guys saw, I loved Austin's slide where he said, it's more expensive healthcare cost-wise than taking just a supplement, right? So I believe the best way is to take care of your health, really. So as a C person, just become a customer, okay? And if you like the products, refer people our way. We'll appreciate it. Okay? You won't make money, you're a customer, but it's okay. Just refer them our way, we'll take it. All right, if you're a B person, you have questions or concerns. What type of questions do people usually have? Well, I mean, it depends who's presenting. But after this presentation, it's hard to have any questions. We gave you guys so much information, okay? So you have more than enough information. There should be really no questions. And if there are, you can get them, you'll learn as you earn, right? But I think really there are concerns. The concerns people have are usually the same. I don't have the money to do this. I don't have the time to do this. Or I don't think I could do this. Those are the 3 most common concerns. If you don't have the money to do this, that's why you should do it. Make sense? You should think, why are you broke? Like, you should do something to change that situation, right? I'll drop the truth bomb on you guys. A lot of people say, I don't have the money to buy the products every month. I don't think it's ever a question of money. I think it's always a question of priorities. There's people that can't afford supplements, but they go out drinking maybe once a week. In a month, how much do people say? How many of you guys have ever been out before, and maybe you had sushi and a few drinks, you looked at your bill and it was like $80? Woo! Have you guys ever had a bill like that? I remember I used to go out before and I used to think like, okay, I had sushi with some friends, right? I looked at the bill, $80. I'm like, that's 4 hours of work right there. You know? So I'm letting you know, sometimes people spend money just like that. But $100 a month on their supplements, nutrition, things that are good for you, I think people can afford it. As far as time is concerned, I always hear people say, I don't have time. I'm serious. I always hear people say, I have no time. I'm sorry, I just have no time. I can't have time. I'm like, why don't you have time? I just don't have time. Well, why don't you have time? Usually those people are what? Working all the time, right? That's why they don't have time. I talked about leverage. That's why I'm explaining leverage to you guys. But let's talk about 60 minutes. I know people say, 60 minutes, I don't have time for the gym. I don't have time to do this business. 60 minutes, I don't have that time. But you're watching a Netflix episode? You're done with one, the next episode comes out, and you're like, all right, let's watch one more. It's okay, right? Have you guys ever been on Facebook and you see people saying, does anybody know a Netflix series that they can recommend? I'm looking to watch something. Have you guys ever seen people talk about that on social media? I'm like, this person has so much time that they're looking for something to watch. Like they have too much free time. I'm like, sign that person up, okay? Starting a business, can't justify it, too much money. iPhone just came out, I need it, right? It's just, I always look at it, it's never a question of time or money, it's always a question of priorities. Would you guys agree with that? Yeah. Okay, so let's not use those concerns. Now, as far as people who feel like they can't do this, there's some people who say, I can't do what you did. I like the speakers that came up before, and they came up with their notes. Did you guys notice that? They had their paper and they're reading off of it, right? And they're kind of just, you know, when I was brand new, I remember I was like, you know? But it was just, that's how I started. I was brand new, I was so nervous, I was sweaty. First presentation I ever did was only for 3 people. 3 people at the first presentation. 2 fell asleep and 1 signed up, okay? And I remember I was sweating bullets. I was so nervous, I was tired. I was like, oh my God. The person that signed up, I was like, but we got 1. We got 1. And after the meeting, I told my friend, I was like, hey man, high five, dude. We got somebody signed up. And he goes, actually, that person is already signed up. They just pretended to sign up so you wouldn't feel bad. I kid you not, that's a true story, okay? I felt worse because of that, you know? They were faking it for me. And I was just like, oh man. But you know what? I didn't give up. I just kept doing it. I kept going with it. And I think that's what happens. If you want to be good at this business, you just have to keep doing it. Eventually, it will feel natural. Think about it. When you start driving, how do you drive? After time? And then? Relax. True? And with time? Isn't it true? You gotta understand something, guys. You can get better at doing this. You can learn this. You just have to practice. You just have to stick with it. If you're committed, you'll be fine. But if you're a quitter, there's nothing you can do then, right? You have to be consistent. You have to be dedicated. Okay, if you're an A person, you're like, Mike, I see it. Just shut up already. I was ready to sign up after I saw Austin, okay? So if you guys are A's, take action, fill out your application, get started, and welcome to the family. It's a community. There's a lot of people who help you. Okay, you guys can ask people for help here. People will support you and encourage you. One thing that I suggest though is please go through training though. Go through training on how to build this business and try the product, okay? Try the product, use it, get familiar with it. The last thing you want to do is start telling people about this great business opportunity that you have without trying the product and without getting training. Think about it. Some people do it though. Like after this, they sign up and they're like, yeah, I'm really excited. They call up their friend, they're like, Joe, we're gonna be rich, bro. And they're gonna be like, what? How? Vitamins. What? How does it work? You get under me and work and I get paid. That's how it works, okay? No. Don't do it like that. Okay, it never seems to work out. Okay? But anyways, how many of you guys see that we have a pretty good company here? You think we have a pretty good company? How many of you guys wouldn't mind making an extra $2,000 a month part-time building this business? How many of you guys want Bill and Jenny's check sent to your house? Raise your left foot. All right, guys. Thank you guys very much. God bless, and I hope you guys are part of the